Did you know that 80% of behavior change attempts fail? Duke University estimated this in their Behavior Design Lab, authored by B.J. Fogg. How is it that as humans we fail 80% of the time when we try to change our behavior? What are the possible contributing factors? I remember one experience as a kid that taught me about this in wrestling. I was in between a match. After the first round, my coach pulled me aside, and he looked me straight in the eyes and he said, "Dan, don't confuse movement with progress." I've thought a lot about this since, but at the time I think I understood a little bit of what it meant. You see, in my first round, I spent a lot of time moving the other guy. I tried to take shots, but I wasn't getting very many points, and he could tell that I was getting tired. That's because I wasn't being purposeful with my movement. I exerted a lot of effort, I used a lot of my strength, but no progress was being made. And I think this applies to our problem as humans with change. What keeps us in that 80%? Why do we fail so much? Today, I want to challenge 4 popular lies that we often tell ourselves about change. Lies that keep us from reaching our potentials. Lies that keep us in that 80%. And they have to do with movement rather than progress. Misconception number 1. Change is a battle of effort. I've commonly felt in my life, during times that I've wanted to change, that if I just had a little bit more motivation, if I dug deep and found more discipline, then I'd be able to change. But this is wrong because willpower is a finite resource. You see, it's limited. The brain is programmed for efficiency. It behaves out of habit and expectation. Whatever we've told ourselves to do and believe and think has accumulated and built up in our unconscious mind. And that is what we will think, that's what we will do and believe about the future. And so if we want to change, that means we are going against the pre-programmed strategy that our brain has for us. That causes us to exert willpower. For example, if I want to go to the gym, and it's not common for me to go to the gym, if I don't have that habit built up in my life, then it won't be natural. I'll have to go against my natural tendency and utilize all things like motivation, discipline, and willpower in order to get myself to the gym. The truth is, change is about alignment with identity. If we can get our subconscious mind to realign with the version of ourselves we want to be, the new version, the changed version, then we're able to more easily behave in the ways we want to. In this way, direction beats effort. It's like a chess game. The player that wins at chess is more strategic. They understand that they don't have an infinite number of turns to play from. They have to optimize for the turns that they have available and be strategic to beat their opponent. The same goes for change. Getting caught up with movement instead of progress is as if we're aimlessly moving pieces on the board. That assumes that aimless movement will make us progress, but it also assumes that we have an infinite amount of moves to play, and both of those are wrong. There are only so many plays before the opponent beats us, and aimlessly moving along the board doesn't get us anywhere. Rather, we have to be strategic. As humans, we have to gain self-awareness of where our current habits lie, and then pick a direction and purposely use the willpower that we have in order to make sustainable changes in our lives. This leads us to the second misconception, that it's easy to believe we have to fix everything. As I look at my life, I see 1,000 places that I need to improve. There are so many things that I need to change that it becomes overwhelming. And that's the truth. When we look at life from this angle, we get overwhelmed. But overwhelm doesn't help us. Rather, it paralyzes us. The truth is that we don't need to fix everything. We just need to fix the things that matter. And then the rest of it will fall into place. It's like a tree. You target the roots, not the branches. When you target the roots, you understand that the branches come from the roots. You have to focus on the deeper issue rather than controlling or trying to fix the symptoms. Albert Einstein said, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results." And so think for a moment how this applies to you. What is your current approach to change? Has it been working for you in your life? Do you feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or stuck? These feelings can be attributed to the misconceptions that you believe about change. The truth is that you don't need more effort. The motivation, the discipline, the willpower you think you lack, that's not what you're missing. You need a different approach. This leads us to misconception number 3, that insight equals change. This comes from the notion that if I understand it, I'll live it. But there is a staggering finding I found in my research that opposes this. From the Institute for Healthcare Communication, in their behavior change research, they found that knowledge only accounts for 10% of behavior change. Knowing something's right is only 10% of the problem. So what in the world constitutes the other 90%? This demolishes the notion that if I understand it, I'll live it. It's like integrity. I know what it means to be honest. I know that in theory and practice what it means, how that would guide my decisions. But that doesn't necessarily guide me or direct me to be honest in my life. The truth is that human behavior isn't driven by what we know. It's driven by what we value. If honesty isn't something that I value in my mind and heart, the likelihood of me being honest is very low. It has nothing to do with my knowledge about it, rather the appraisal I've assigned on the knowledge that I have. I love the quote by Marcel Proust. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. This quote has huge applications in the mental health field and how we as humans approach change. I myself have searched for different landscapes. I've searched for a trick that would solve all my problems. But the one useful trick I've found is that I don't need to go to different places. I need to see where I'm at in new eyes, to take a different approach. The truth is, knowing doesn't mean becoming. There is a gap between cognitive insight and embodied transformation. It's like the Sioux proverb, the longest journey is from the head to the heart. And so although intelligence is a part of it, I believe our knowledge is more than sufficient for the potential we could be reaching in our lives. We need to focus on how we internalize the knowledge that we own. What appraisal do we sign? How much do we value and what do we believe in? You can think for yourself of how that influences the decisions you make. This leads us to misconception number 4, which is to change, I must become someone else. It's commonly believed that in order to change, I need to forsake my past self and become someone completely different. I sometimes thought that I needed to put on a different identity in order to be the man I wanted to be. But I believe the power is within all of us to become our best selves. It's not about seeking a different identity, but discovering the person we really are. This idea about change is wrong because to chase external identities comes at a cost of reconciling our core selves. Lori Deschain said, "You can't hate yourself into someone you love." If you hate the current version of yourself, that hate won't carry you to the person you want to be. Rather, you have to find it in yourself to be compassionate to your weaknesses, to your shortcomings, and believe in yourself that the power is within you. The truth is that real change is about integrating your past into self-discovery. Real change often feels like remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And so in this way, change constitutes self-reconciliation, more so than it does endless reinvention. Carl Jung said it best, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And so as you think about the masks you wear, I want you to consider, are you trying to reinvent yourself? Are you spending the hard time to reconcile the parts of yourself that you don't love? These misconceptions of change, from focusing on effort to trying to fix everything all at once, to gaining more knowledge or reinventing ourselves, keep us in the 80% of people who fail in the attempt to change. So to help you transition into the 20% of attempts that succeed, I want you to remember these 4 truths about change. Change is real. it's more important to face the right direction than to be the person who takes the most steps. Secondly, change comes at the source. Rather than being overwhelmed about all the little things we need to do, we can focus on fixing the deeper issue, trusting that everything else will fall into place. Third, change comes from the correct appraisal of our knowledge. It's not about learning something new, but taking what we already know and internalizing it, changing our belief system and our value system to align with the truth. And lastly, change is a process of self-discovery. Rather than reinventing ourselves, I believe we all have the power within ourselves to discover our true potential. So whenever the thoughts come in your head that you need to exercise more motivation, you need to be a more disciplined person, you can put them to the side for a minute, because I'm telling you now that you're not failing because you're lazy. Willpower can't fix you. It couldn't fix me. So let's face it. Look at the map you're currently using in your pursuit of change. I invite you to join me in your pursuit to be realigned and find a better way. I'm currently in a 2-season podcast series exploring the truth of how humans change, ripping away the misconceptions that we commonly believe. So feel free to take a look at my other content, share it with a family member or friend, and know that I believe in you.